For every loved royal family member, there's also one who is always hated by everyone, starting with Prince Andrew, one of the royal family's most evil members. His downfall is defined entirely by his disturbing friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
You've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
You've stayed at his home.
Yes.
But the core of the scandal comes from the damning allegations made by Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein accuser, who says that as a teenager, she was forced to entertain Epstein and Andrew.
He asked me to dance. I mean, it was horrible, and this guy was sweating all over me. Like, his sweat was it was raining basically everywhere, and I was just like, whoa.
In his disastrous BBC interview, Andrew attempted to create an alibi for that night with a bizarre medical claim.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
This denial was met with a simple and powerful response from Giuffre, leaving the world to decide who is telling the truth.
I'm calling BS on this. He knows what happened. I know what happened, and there's only one of us telling the truth.
But the story took a shocking turn with the news of Giuffre's tragic passing. While authorities ruled it a many people immediately refused to accept that explanation.
Virginia Giuffre is the most credible of the last of the living witnesses. And instead of the release of the documents, we have the death of the most prominent living testament.
This widespread suspicion was fueled by a chilling message Virginia herself had posted before her death, a premonition that many believe tells the real story. She wrote, "I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted." Her fear of being quieted by powerful, evil people provides a chilling context for the entire scandal, pointing to a network that operates above the law.
Some of the most powerful people on the planet are disgusting that were all visiting that island, and they are untouchable.
But while some royals bring disgrace to the family name, others embody the very grace and duty the public expects. And perhaps no one does that better than Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. A huge part of her public work is dedicated to children's well-being, even establishing her own royal foundation for early childhood. And her genuine connection is obvious in countless unscripted moments, like this one at a maternity unit where her motherly instincts completely took over.
And how open and forthcoming are
It's moments like these that flood social media with comments like, "You can tell she adores children. What a kind, loving lady." And, "I truly believe Diana would have loved her so much." But in early 2024, this beloved royal found herself at the center of a global firestorm. It all started with a vague announcement from the palace.
The Princess of Wales is recovering from a scheduled abdominal surgery that she had yesterday.
She will, in fact, remain in the hospital for up to 2 weeks before returning home.
This silence opened the floodgates for wild conspiracy theories. To shut them down, the palace released a Mother's Day photo, but the plan backfired when news agencies like the Associated Press exposed it as a bizarre Photoshop fail, pointing out several glaring errors, like the glitch in Princess Charlotte's sleeve, Kate's misaligned zipper, and the warped tiles on the floor. This chaos forced an apology from Kate over her editing experiment, who wrote, "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a very happy Mother's Day." This only created a domino effect of celebrities mocking the situation. Kim Kardashian posted this picture with the caption, "On my way to go find Kate." And Blake Lively posted a parody ad featuring a comically warped photo of her own, with a distorted hand, a chair defying physics, and a lemon randomly falling from the sky. But the real reason for her absence was more devastating than anyone imagined.
I underwent major abdominal surgery in London. It was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
The announcement triggered a wave of global shame, with one fan summing up how everyone felt.
"And I'm mad that this person became a punchline when she was going through something so serious and horrible behind the scenes."
Celebrities rushed to apologize. Blake Lively wrote on Instagram she was mortified by her silly post. "I'm sure no one cares today, but I feel like I have to acknowledge this. Oh man, that post has me mortified today. I'm sorry. Sending love and well wishes to all, always." Kim Kardashian, however, remained silent. But while the post is still up, the public made their feelings clear, flooding her page with comments like, "I love Kim Kardashian, but this needs to come down," and "Apologize. How dare you?" The entire ordeal, while horrific, only reinforced the public's fierce protection and love for the woman who has truly become the people's princess. While Kate Middleton is loved for her grace and quiet dedication to duty, Meghan Markle is a royal who seems to attract nothing but controversy. From a failed Netflix cooking show and a jam that nobody's buying, to airing public grievances in her bombshell interview with Oprah and making explosive accusations of racism against the crown.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
She is criticized for nearly everything she does, and critics argue it's rightfully so, claiming her entire public personality is forced, fake, and utterly reckless. The core criticism always comes back to one thing: a total lack of authenticity. It's a claim made by countless critics, including some who knew her long before she ever became a royal.
I knew her a bit before she met Harry. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
This perceived fakeness is often pointed out during her paid speaking events, where commentators say she's trying too hard to sell a version of herself that no one believes.
The beginning of that clip where she's like, oh my God. Oh my gosh, she has loved us so much. It's so inauthentic. This is why she was never going to be more than like a D-list actress on a basic cable show.
Even the way she talks about her husband, Prince Harry, strikes many as completely unnatural.
I mean, H, that man loves me so much.
Why do you call him H? That's so dumb sounding.
He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
Have you ever heard somebody have to try so hard to be like, put it out there?
Some analysts believe this struggle to appear genuine stems from a fundamental conflict in her identity.
She's stuck because she was an actress who became a real princess, who wants to be an actress again, but has to continue to pretend to be a real princess.
And critics point to her continued, but quiet, use of her royal title as proof of this conflict. Despite an agreement not to use the title, Her Royal Highness, after leaving the firm, a podcast revealed she may still be using it behind the scenes.
With the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, Her Royal Highness was an agreed upon, you can't use it. You're no longer Her Royal Highness.
This perceived recklessness, critics say, extends to how she's treated family, both the one she was born into and the one she married into. Her own brother claims she brazenly disrespected the late queen.
She mocked the queen. She wouldn't listen to the queen. She came into the royal family and thought she owned the place.
And then there's the complete abandonment of her own father, who made one public mistake and says he's been sentenced to a lifetime of silence.
There are axe murderers in prison. Their family comes to see them. I'm not an axe murderer. I made one dumb mistake, and I'm never being forgiven for it.
But perhaps nothing blurred the lines more than a recently surfaced video of her dancing provocatively while being literally pregnant. The bizarre video was seen by many as crossing a private line, leading commentators and even her own brother to question everything.
I don't know. My father doesn't know. I don't think anybody knows if those children are legitimate or surrogates.
That belly looks very abnormal. It looks very strange. It looks like there's like a bag or like some sort of something shoved up under a dress.
This has led many, including her own family, to speculate that Harry isn't her partner, but just another stepping stone, one she'll discard when he's no longer useful.
She cut your dad out of her life, she cut your sister out of her life. Do you think she'll cut him out of her life?
I think it's straightforward. I think it's going to happen.
The sentiment eventually reached a point where the couple became a recurring punchline for mainstream comedians and late-night hosts. But perhaps the one joke that went most viral and perfectly captured the public mood came from SNL's Colin Jost.
A new trade deal with the UK, all that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
But while one half of the family creates controversy, the other is focused on a single word: duty. And for Prince William, the Prince of Wales, that duty is everything. As the future king, William has taken on some of the world's biggest problems, most notably with his ambitious Earthshot Prize, a global environmental prize designed to find and fund groundbreaking solutions to repair our planet. He began by outlining the scale of the problem our planet faces.
The last 90 years or so, our impact has accelerated so fast that our climate, oceans, air, nature, and all that depends on them are in peril.
He didn't just highlight the problem, he put a strict timeline on the need for a solution. In a powerful call to action, he stressed the urgent need for action within this decade.
If we do not act in this decade, the damage that we have done will be irreversible, and the effects felt not just by future generations, but by all of us alive today.
But his message wasn't one of doom and gloom. Instead, he invoked the spirit of human ingenuity and offered a message of hope through his ambitious solution.
But now, rather than a moonshot for this decade, we need Earthshots. We must harness that same spirit of human ingenuity and purpose.
He's also been a trailblazer in the conversation around mental health. Through his Heads Together initiative, he has worked to break down long-held taboos by encouraging everyone to simply start the conversation.
It's really important to have this conversation and that you won't be judged. It's so important to break open that fear and that taboo. It's only going to lead to more problems down the line.
To make the topic less intimidating, he worked to completely normalize the conversation. He framed the issue in a simple, powerful way to remove the stigma for good.
You know, it feels very normal normal about mental health. It's the same as physical health. Everybody has mental health, and that we shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Much of this work is seen as a direct continuation of his mother Diana's legacy, especially his focus on helping the homeless. His Homewards initiative aims to prove that ending homelessness is truly possible.
A year ago, I can't believe, we launched Homewards and began our journey of working together to demonstrate that it is possible to end homelessness.
And he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, often seen personally prepping and serving food for those in need. His commitment doesn't stop there. Through his Royal Foundation, he's also launched United for Wildlife to fight the multi-billion-dollar illegal animal trade, a national task force to combat cyberbullying, and dedicated programs to support the mental health of emergency responders. This blend of traditional duty and modern, hands-on action is why royal fans overwhelmingly see him as a perfect fit for a future king. But while the future king dedicates himself to duty, his brother Prince Harry has chosen a very different path, one that has left him one of the most controversial figures in the world. A central part of Harry's public image now revolves around his grievances, particularly his ongoing battle for top-tier security in the UK. After stepping down as a working royal, his automatic, publicly funded police protection was removed, and he's been fighting the UK government ever since to get it back. In a recent BBC interview, he claimed the dispute is so toxic, it's the reason his own father won't speak to him.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
However, critics immediately pounced on these claims, calling them disingenuous and pointing out that he has plenty of options to ensure his family's safety.
That's a lie. You can take them back whenever you want. You can bring your own security. You can ensure that they're safe. You can go to safe spots. There are a million ways to do it.
Journalists have clarified that Harry still gets state-funded police protection. He just doesn't get the automatic 24/7 service reserved for working royals.
He just has to notify them of his trips on a case-by-case basis. He's not a working royal, therefore he doesn't get the automatic round-the-clock service that a working royal gets.
Adding to the frustration, commentators note that he has refused the offer of staying in a fully secured royal residence like Buckingham Palace when he visits.
Whenever you come here, you can stay in Buckingham Palace, and you will get all the security that comes with that.
But the security battle is just one piece of the puzzle. Critics argue Harry has systematically dismantled his family's reputation for profit, most notably in his Netflix show where he and Meghan openly mocked royal traditions, like bowing to his grandmother, the Queen.
Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Was that okay?
How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American? That's weird.
This all culminated in his tell-all memoir, Spare, where he aired every family grievance imaginable. The book and its promotional tour were so widely seen as self-pitying that the show South Park famously dedicated an entire episode to mocking him.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Win.
The show also brutally satirized his and Meghan's competing demands for privacy versus publicity.
Your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy. How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy.
The constant cycle of drama has led commentators to believe that it's all intentional, a way for Harry to frame himself as a victim, just like his mother.
He needs the drama of they're out to get us. The press is gonna lead to Meghan getting killed just like my mother.
And after all the public attacks and score settling, many believe he has permanently burned his bridges, with some predicting a furious future king will one day strip him of everything.
You are vile, and if you don't think that when William becomes king, he's going to strip you of your titles and the world will cheer that, you're out of your mind.
But to understand the current royal drama, you have to go back to the woman who changed everything, Princess Diana. She wasn't just a global fashion icon. She was a force of nature who completely rewrote the rules of what a princess could be, most famously by showing a revolutionary compassion and holding the hands of AIDS patients when the world was too scared to. Beyond her incredible humanitarian work, the public fell in love with her because she was so incredibly real. She had a sharp wit and a mischievous sense of humor that she wasn't afraid to show. She was also refreshingly honest and down to earth. When an interviewer asked about her behavior, she didn't hesitate to joke about her own past.
But it's a penalty of the job that you can't behave as you used to.
I guess probably just as well if you knew how I used to behave.
This playful charm was magnetic. In one famous clip, she was stuck in a car with a man who could not stop burping, and her reaction was pure, infectious laughter until she completely lost it.
Sorry about
You did say turn right.
Her interviews often revealed this charming, relatable side. Instead of giving stiff royal answers, she'd happily discuss the normal chaos of family life, like her son's love for noisy toys.
But he hasn't got anything particular. He just likes something with a bit of noise. He got a plastic whale that throws things out the top, little balls.
Even when talking about her own abilities, she was self-deprecating and funny. When asked if she was a good cook, she had this to say.
I have done cooking course, yes. I don't think I'm average, but you haven't tasted anything because I won't let you.
This unique blend of grace and humor is why people adored her, leaving comments like, "Diana was a complete and utter natural when around people, so beautiful to watch. And she was so real, humble and charming. Rest in peace." Her death in 1997 sent a shockwave of grief across the globe. This rare footage shows the exact moment a group of friends heard the news, and the sudden drop from laughter to absolute, silent heartbreak shows just how deeply she was loved.
Princess Diana dead.
Oh, she died.
Where's the remote?
Oh my God.
But behind the dazzling smile and the easy laughter, Diana was slowly dying from within. She battled depression and an eating disorder, fueled by the knowledge that her fairy tale marriage was a lie. In her own famous words, she revealed the source of her pain.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
And there was only one man to blame for all her pain, a man who was not just her husband, but the present-day King Charles. Ironically, the King Charles of today is experiencing a surge of public sympathy. Following his cancer diagnosis, the world has rallied around him, seeing a vulnerable man instead of just a monarch, and his reign has been seen as steady and reassuring. But for decades, he was seen as the villain in a global nightmare. His fairy tale marriage to Diana was a lie from the start. His heart had always belonged to another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles, with whom he shared secret nicknames and exchanged personalized gifts, even while engaged to Diana. He was reportedly so detached that he told Diana the night before their wedding that he didn't love her, crushing the fairy tale before it even began. For years, Diana lived with the constant, gut-wrenching knowledge of their affair, eventually confronting Camilla face-to-face in a legendary showdown at a birthday party. The private war then exploded into public view. Intimate, embarrassing phone conversations between Charles and Camilla were leaked, most famously the Tampongate tapes, which proved the affair beyond all doubt. In a disastrous attempt at damage control, Charles sat down for a TV interview where he publicly admitted to his infidelity. He tried to justify it, famously saying he was faithful only until the marriage had irretrievably broken down, but the damage was done. With that one phrase, he confessed his guilt to the world, cementing his role as the man who betrayed the people's princess. And so, while time has passed and he now wears the crown, the ghost of his past actions remains. The pain he inflicted on Diana is a chapter that can never be erased from his story, a permanent shadow that, for millions, will forever define the man who is now king. But the shadow of Charles's past stands in stark contrast to the legacy of the monarch who came before him, a figure of unwavering duty and the most loved and respected royal of all, Queen Elizabeth II. For 70 years, she wasn't just a monarch, she was the definition of duty. From the moment she unexpectedly took the throne, she made one promise: to dedicate her entire life to service. And through decades of political turmoil and global change, she never once broke that promise. She was the one constant in a world of constant change. While her own family created endless scandals around her, the Queen remained a symbol of quiet dignity. She weathered every storm, absorbed every crisis, and provided a sense of stability that kept the monarchy itself from crumbling. Her job was to be the nation's anchor, and she played it perfectly. But she wasn't just a stoic figurehead. She had a subtle sense of humor, famously surprising the world by acting alongside James Bond for the Olympics and sharing marmalade sandwiches with Paddington Bear.
I keep mine in here.
She became more than a queen. She became the symbol of Britain itself. Her legacy isn't one of drama or controversy, but of a promise kept. 70 years on the throne, a lifetime of service fulfilled, earning her a level of love and respect that will likely never be seen again.